Hey everybody, this is welcome to the International Black Cinema Series. Today I have the pleasure to welcome John. John, can you introduce yourself to our audience out there?
I'm Jonathan Haynes. I teach at the Brooklyn campus of Long Island University. I've been interested in Nollywood, the Nigerian film industry, really since it began in the early 1990s. Edited a book about it, and I've just published a new book called Nollywood.
Okay, congratulations on
Thank
your
you.
latest book that came out, about a week ago.
Yeah, a long time coming.
Yeah. So we talk about Nollywood, but sometimes, you have people equating, Nollywood with Nigerian cinema. So can you speak to that difference?
There was filmmaking on celluloid in Nigeria before Nollywood began. Nollywood really refers to video films, or home videos as people sometimes call them in Nigeria. So that started in the early 90s. There had been films from about 1970 on celluloid. Most of them made by artists from the Yoruba traveling theater tradition, which was a popular art form which had been on television. So Nollywood picked up partly on those roots in this
Yoruba traveling theater.
Popular art form. But when filmmaking on video began, the influence was more from Nigerian television, which was a very strong, large thing. A lot of people had been trained in television, so the first leading directors in Nollywood, many of them had come over from television.
I guess one of the things people want to know is how Nollywood came to be.
It was really the product of a complete disaster in Nigeria. The structural adjustment program in the late 80s and early 1990s destroyed filmmaking. The currency collapsed. It became impossible to make films on celluloid, which had to be developed and post-production work done overseas. And so on. But at the same moment, cheap and easily operated video equipment was coming onto the market. The cameras, there were already a lot of VCRs in Nigeria, and there was a whole infrastructure for pirating American movies and Chinese and Indian ones and distributing them for people to watch at home on their VCRs. So that became the basis for Nollywood.
Yeah, but for starters, for beginners, how can you talk to the current trends in Nollywood? Could it be in production or distribution?
There's been a general improvement in the quality, the technical quality of the films. Again, the equipment gets better and people have more experience using it. The really dramatic current development has to do with the distribution platforms. Satellite television broadcasting has become the dominant mode of distribution for Nollywood films all over Africa. They're really popular pretty much everywhere across the continent, and the internet has become the primary mode of distribution of the films out in Europe and North America. So the corporations which own those new platforms have become big players in the industry. Very recently they've started producing their own content, and they have very ambitious plans to produce a whole lot of content. So we may be looking at a kind of corporate takeover of what started out as the grassroots kind of popular culture, really based in the informal sector of the economy. But now, very rapidly it's getting integrated, or there's an attempt to integrate it with transnational corporations and the whole international media environment.
The last question is if you can read into a crystal ball, what does the future hold for Nollywood, if you can speak to that?
I don't know. I suspect it'll go in a lot of directions at once. The corporate intervention is clearly not going to go away. There's a big question about how much of Nollywood will be controlled or financed in that way. There's also multiplex theaters are being built across Nigeria at a rapid pace. That's permitted the evolution of what's being called New Nollywood, which are better films with bigger budgets, films that go to film festivals and around the world and things like that. That's good. There's also talk about building lots and lots of small cinemas.
Community cinemas.
Community cinemas for popular audiences, low admission fees. And I think that has tremendous potential, not only as an enormous revenue stream and a steady revenue stream for the filmmakers, but it'll also kind of restore the center of gravity of Nollywood as a popular arts, serving this vast audience of kind of ordinary people. What's always interested me and impressed me about Nollywood the most was the extent to which it really did come from and speak to this very broad popular audience. It wasn't mass entertainment created by corporations. It wasn't the work of a few auteurist, directors making films for art houses. It was a completely different kind of cultural expression.
Okay. Now, if you want to know more about Nollywood, John just published a book that came out a week ago. And John, can you give a title, the complete title of your book?
Nollywood, the creation of Nigerian film genres is what it's called.
Okay. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.